Have you ever been on a plane? Do you ever wonder how it works or how it flies? Well, my group wondered, wait, who made this? The answer to that is the Wright brothers. They created the first plane by hard work and dedication. If it wasn't for them, who knows what our aircraft industry would be like today? My group and I will be explaining to you how the Wright brothers made such a turning point in history with our project. Orville Wright was born on August 19, 1871, and Wilbur Wright was born May 30th, 1912. These two were brothers, inventors, and took part of the first flight in American history.
I chose the Wright brothers because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to go across the country to see my family members. The Wright brothers have made a huge impact on our world. Some turning points are, without the airplane, we wouldn't know what the world looks like. The airplane helped to get the NASA program started because the airplane is a basic model of the NASA spaceships. Airplanes also do much work, such as trading, food transporting, cargo transporting, and sometimes just going on vacations. They also helped with the U.S. Air Force. We can now fight in wars more efficiently.
I chose the Wright brothers because they have made such an impact on today's world, and they have changed everything we do today.
Not only did the Wright brothers invent the first airplane, they also started their own bike shop in 1892 of December. They called their bike company the Wright Cycle Company. They owned their shop till 1907. By 1906, they started their own brand of bicycles, known as the Van Cleve, St. Clair, and the Wright Special. It wasn't until 1897 that the Wright brothers became interested in mechanical flight. They both started to study bird flight, and then they wondered if it was possible for human flight.
Because every time I step on a plane, I think, wow, who did this?
It took the Wright brothers a long time to perfect their work. They traveled for many days and worked for long hours. The Wright brothers spent a total of 2,340 days, which is over 6 years of hard work. They spent 2,093 days in Dayton, Ohio, 227 days in Kitty Hawk, and 20 days of traveling. They tested a total of 2,200 gliding flights and 158 powered flights. After 6 long years from 1899 to 1905, they finally built a successful flight. Flying 24 miles in 39 minutes, this flyer had a 40-feet wingspan and a 20-horsepower engine.
The Wright brothers' first airplane, as seen here, was a very dynamic model. It doesn't have much differences. Although the Wright brothers' model was very unsafe for passengers, the Wright brothers started with a base of building their plane by studying gliders. They started their first test with kites. After a successful test, the Wright brothers tested their 50-pound, 17-foot wingspan glider. They set a new record by making the first piloted glider. By 1901, they flew the largest glider ever by having a 22-foot wingspan and weighing in almost 100 pounds. It was not at all a successful flight test. The glider didn't have enough lifting power, and the wing warping would sometimes cause the plane to spin out of control. Instead of giving up, the Wright brothers made a new glider with a 32-foot wingspan and a tail to stabilize it. By 1902, the Wright brothers ran more tests with the new glider. They came to a conclusion that the tail would help stabilize it. After enough studies, they built a 700-pound aircraft, which is known as the Flyer. History was made by December 17, 1903, when Orville took the Flyer for a 12-second flight. It was the first successful powered piloted flight. By 1912, the first armed plane was built, thanks to the Wright brothers.
I chose the Wright brothers because to me what they did was just so fascinating.
After the Wright brothers' huge success, Wilbur had set a record with a 2-hour, 20-minute flight December 31st, 1908. They then flew to France and did an air show. They both opened the Wright Airplane Factory in Dayton, Ohio, November 22nd, 1909. Wilbur had died on May 30th, 1912, in Dayton, Ohio, from typhoid fever. He was only 45. Orville moved on from airplanes because he didn't want to do flight without his brother. So Orville moved on to improve toasters, water pumps, and washing machines. Orville had died January 30th, 1948 in Dayton, Ohio, at age 76. In 1965, Wilbur and Orville were selected for the Hall of Fame for Great Americans. They both had a successful career.
As you can see, the Wright brothers really did contribute to history. After the Wright brothers passed away, they have had museums built in their name. They have also had exhibits like this one at the Exploration Place in Wichita, Kansas. This exhibit teaches about flights, a brief story about the Wright brothers, and even an interactive game where you can lay down and see what it was like to pilot and be in the first Wright brothers glider. The Wright brothers still today help kids learn by having books wrote about them and even movies. The Wright brothers inspire and motivate new inventors. What did they do for a turning point in history? They made shipping and transportation easier. Companies wouldn't be able to transport objects as easy. People wouldn't be able to see close friends and family as easy either. Not only did they contribute to all of that, our Navy uses fighter planes and jets to help our troops. My group also believes that helicopters, private planes, or any other aircraft would not have been developed as fast if it weren't for the brilliant minds of the Wright brothers.